Hi everyone, this is Ronnie. In this video I want to talk about dementia, maybe some of the diseases of old age related to that, and the fruitarian or raw vegan diet. So can you prevent, reverse, delay dementia with the raw vegan diet? We don't know yet. We don't have the information to say that for sure scientifically and so on. Don't have the information to say that. So from that perspective, we cannot for sure say yes to that question. However, if you were if you were looking for the odds, to me the odds are highly likely that once the scientific testing is done and finished and whatever, it's highly likely that the cause of dementia, as the cause of most chronic diseases, is diet related. Chronic diseases, chronic conditions are conditions that last a long period of time, typically 3 months or more, 5 months or 6 months or more, don't respond fully to medical treatment, and in some cases they can also be terminal, which means they lead to a person's death. So chronic conditions are the issue. When it comes to health, so much money, time, attention on coronavirus. Why? Because there's potentially some money in it. There's no money in chronic disease, in the reversal of chronic disease. So we've kind of given up on the idea that these diseases can be reversed, cancer and all that. People are still putting massive amounts of money into research, trying to find a medical solution. The desperation to find a medical solution is insanity. Medical solution to cancer, medical solution to heart disease. I mean, they're going to invent little robots that will go into your body and like take the tumours out and stuff. That maybe that'll work. Maybe we'll get to that point. But if people continue on the lifestyle that caused cancer or caused heart disease, you're going to just get another problem turning up. So it's all silly. It's all going in the wrong direction. It's all illogical. All of these chronic diseases are diet related. Now, with heart disease, we know that can be reversed through diet therapy, just changing your food. Diabetes can be healed, reversed through diet, through changing your food. Both of those diseases are pretty much linked anyway. You can prevent your risk of stroke. Obviously you can't reverse a stroke because you've done the damage. High blood pressure you can get rid of, changing your diet, improving your lifestyle. Although some people have genetic high blood pressure as well. Lung conditions are more to do with smoking. Autoimmune diseases, a lot of those are related to diet. Some of those might respond to diet, some of them might not fully respond to diet. Some of them will take a long time to heal, but a lot of them can be reversed with dietary change. So given that fact, what are the chances that dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and other neurological conditions that people get in old age, what are the chances that those have a relationship to diet? Now, I've not personally seen someone reverse any of those that I can think of. I had a friend who had Parkinson's who went to the Woodstock Fruit Festival, and he just really got worse every year, but he never stuck to a vegan diet. He didn't stick to a raw vegan diet, but he never even stuck to a vegan diet for any length of time, unfortunately. And he was still looking for a solution, and he wasn't changing his diet and sticking to it. His wife was not very supportive, but in her defence, she'd seen him do this a lot. chopping and changing his diet and not really sticking to it. So she didn't really believe in what he was doing, and she continued to eat the diet that will kill her probably in the next few years, because she was very unhealthy and had diabetes, and so she'll be dead in a very short space of time. Not that I have any resentment towards her. And he died as a result of, you know, his own lack of willpower, I suppose, or whatever it was. But he died of the food, you know, in my opinion. But he didn't die of Parkinson's, he died of cancer. But he certainly never reversed his Parkinson's. Now, I would say that when I was at Woodstock, the first night he arrived to the last night he was there, I saw a difference. Now, that's not a medical opinion, because I'm not a doctor, but I felt like I saw a difference in him when he was at the festival. But that could be for many reasons. Maybe it wasn't just the diet, but I felt I saw the difference. And that's the issue, really, is we don't necessarily see a lot of people reversing these things, because these are like long-term problems that have taken a long time to develop. You're probably not going to see a very rapid change in people. Dementia, I've not known anyone. I've heard stories. I've not personally known anyone that's reversed it, but I've heard stories. Alzheimer's, I'm not sure. I think once again I've heard stories. Doug Graham's got a story of a client of his, or a friend of his, whose mother was basically at the point where she was taking care of her mother. She didn't know where she was, didn't know what was happening anymore. And Doug said, well, why not just feed her fruits and vegetables? It won't matter. She doesn't even know what she's eating anymore. So she gave her fruits and vegetables. And the story goes that 6 months later she was back to normal. Now, I can't vouch for that story. Didn't see it happen, don't know the people involved, don't know if Doug is over hyperbolizing it a little bit, don't really know. Might ask him about that again. There was a guy at the Woodstock Festival that had a book one time that was about reversing Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia with diet, and he had some examples, I think. But with dementia, what's interesting is that the doctor told my grandfather it's called vascular dementia, and it's to do with cholesterol is part of the problem. Now, imagine this. Imagine you're a doctor and you've been training for at least 7 years academic work, at least probably 4 or 5 years training on the job, and then you've got your career, all the extra training doctors do, and you're working on a disease that you're looking at all the time, learning about all the time, seeing patients all the time, seeing the damage it causes to people, and you know, just imagine this, you're telling people cholesterol is part of the problem. Now, just think about that. You're telling people cholesterol is part of the problem. At any point, do you think it would ring a bell in their mind? What would happen if we, could we put them on a diet with no cholesterol? Could we do that? Is that a concept? Is that an idea? Is that a possibility? Or nah, or should we just let them keep eating cholesterol? Cholesterol's a problem. Cholesterol is the problem. But let's try and find some drugs that deal with that. Let's try and find some drugs that deal with the psychotic effects of dementia. Let's take some drugs that put them in a zombified state, make them feel happy for a short period of time, that are harming the liver and the kidneys. So, absolutely baffles my mind, and I'm absolutely sure they would have told him it's nothing to do with their diet. It's to do with cholesterol, but it's not to do with their diet. This is the madness that's going on in the world, in the health. That's why I'm being a bit arrogant here, but you need to listen to people like me, because I am not confused about this. I'm not addicted to eating cholesterol laden foods. I don't have any agenda to eat those foods. I'm never gonna, I don't have any bias in my food choices, and I also don't want to. Because listen, if someone was to figure out that pizza was the healthiest food ever, do you not think I would be happy to hear that? Like I wouldn't mind eating pizza again. I wouldn't mind having pizza every night if that was, or someone made a pizza fruit that tasted like pizza or something. And it, great, that's nice. But it isn't, and it's not healthy, and it doesn't make you feel good, and it's full of oil and salt and sugar and cheese and bread and nasty stuff. It, I can't even imagine how long it would take for my body to digest all that. I can't even imagine how constipated I would be if I was eating pizza right now. If I can eat tomatoes, actually, pretty good second. So, I don't have a bias in my food choices, but your doctors do. This is the major problem. Your dentist does. I was at the dentist the other day. A crown fell out. I've got crowns, so a few crowns. It fell out, and he said, "I don't really think this is going to last." He stuck it back in, and he said, "I don't think it's going to last that long." I said, "Does it make a difference if I don't eat anything crunchy?" He said, "Yeah, but who wants to do that? What's the fun in that?" I thought, well, the fun in that is I don't want my crown to fall out again. I don't want to have to come back here. Um, what's the fun in that? But that's the way that they kind of look at it. Like it's not worth living a life where you restrict your diet at all. So when my grandfather told me that, I can't tell you how many times I told him about a fruit diet, or not a fruit diet, but like a raw food, like a vegan diet, a plant-based diet, the diet that my mum actually eats. I was like, my mum eats this diet. Why don't you get her to eat that food? I cannot tell you how many times. Every conversation I've had with them for 10 years, probably, that's come up, because he'll say to me, "What fruit's good for this? What fruit's good for that?" And I and I say to him, "Any fruit, whatever fruit you want to eat." The problem is not it's not necessarily the amount of fruit you're eating or not, but the problem is animal products in your diet. That's causing your arthritis. That's doing this. I've had a conversation with him a million times about this. I don't hold back. Don't care about his feelings towards his food. That's all bullshit anyway. Some of you might be still eating some of those foods, and you might have emotions towards them. Believe me, in a couple of weeks' time, when your headaches have disappeared, when your constipation's gone, when pain's gone, when joint pains have gone, you're not going to care that much about those foods anymore. You're going to realise, oh, those foods caused damage to me. They are damaging. They are dangerous. They are nasty. They are bad. And you should hyper focus. You should, I don't know what the word is. You need to put all these negative connotations on those foods. Like pizza should be, oh, that's death food. That's causing death. That's killing people food. That's reducing life expectancy food. That's constipation food. That's gut issues food. Fruit is the food of life and pleasure and enjoyment and fun and energy. And all of those animal product foods and all that stuff, it should be death. That's how I look at it, quite frankly. It's not just death because the animal died, which is another aspect of it. These foods kill people. They kill your health. They destroy the arterial lining of the inside of your arteries over time. They increase your chance of getting cancer. They are tumor-causing foods, cancer-causing foods. I'm not going to pretend that you can't get cancer on a vegan diet. You could. I'm not going to. Anyone could. It's not. You could have some genetics that really cause that, and we're surrounded by all sorts of things as well that might cause cancer and all that. But you don't want to get cancer that's diet related. It's like colon cancer, or it's totally to do with diet. Stomach cancer or something, throat cancer, like all these things. Do you not think these are related to diet? Like all of that gut system? So, you got to realise, I really start to realise more and more, I've become more and more of an expert in myself in terms of how I look at health, how I think about health. Coronavirus. It's like there's all these experts out there, and like my opinion was better than almost all these people, and I didn't even need to do that much research or whatever. I turned out to be right. I know that the coronavirus thing will be looked at in the future, look back on, a lot of the statistics will have been wrong. I know all of this stuff is bogus. I know a lot of the case numbers at the moment are wrong. Like false positive tests and all that stuff. But a lot of people are not reacting out of like common sense or knowledge, or not common sense, but uncommon sense, like sense. I don't know what you call it. Learning, knowledge, understanding that there's like, when it comes to health, there's like principles, laws of the universe, laws of nature. There is no way that coronavirus was so infectious 6 months ago and now doesn't. It barely passes from anyone anymore. No one goes to the hospital anymore with it, really. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about coronavirus. So yeah, but your family, unfortunately, one of the problems, your family won't listen to you. Your friends won't listen to you. I don't really know. I mean, maybe if I put a presentation together, gathered them all together and take them step by step through the information, maybe I should have done that. Like, I was thinking about that. Should I have done that? What would have happened? Phoning all my aunties and uncles up and saying, listen, I think I have a solution to your mother, my grandmother, not going further down this dementia pathway to absolute misery, and presented them with the information. The doctor says it's cholesterol. Maybe we take cholesterol out of her diet. Does anyone agree with me on that? Does anyone think that might be an idea? Of course, it's not really cholesterol. Like, cholesterol is a bad thing to consume. But when you have an increase in saturated fat, the cholesterol rises in your bloodstream. So cholesterol is an indicator of high cholesterol. High cholesterol is an indicator of heart disease. That's why they measure your cholesterol, because it's an indicator of heart disease. High cholesterol is something that most people have. It's normal. It's so normal that it's just seen as like that's something that happens to human beings. But it isn't. My cholesterol won't be high. And what is heart disease? It's the arteries being diseased. And I'm kind of thinking, you all know that though, don't you? And then I realised, wait, people don't know that. Even vegans don't know that. Even raw vegans don't know that. The whole paleo, carnivore, ketogenic, they definitely don't know that. They all think that it's the saturated, but saturated fat's okay. Where did they get that from? Total nonsense. Nonsense information. Saturated fat's not the problem. Cigarettes don't cause lung cancer either. Radiation's fine. I don't know what else they're going to come up with next. Lack of water doesn't make me thirsty, or whatever. It's just like, it's been shown so many times. Saturated fat, heart disease. Saturated fat, heart disease. High cholesterol, heart disease. Damaging the arteries with every bite. Artery damaging foods. And the thing about your arteries is that's where the blood is obviously flowing to the rest of your body. the blood which feeds your body, keeps it alive, provides the nutrients. People are wondering about nutrient deficiency. It's like, well, how about you make sure that your blood vessels are clear and working so that nutrients can actually get to your body? And this is the major problem of the animal food diet. It causes atherosclerosis. You've got to get that. You've got to make sure that once you know that, you never go back to animal products or a high-fat diet even, or oil and stuff like that. Once you get that, that's what those foods cause. They damage your arteries with every single meal, every bite. When you were a child, you were already getting signs of heart disease because of those foods, if you were brought up in those foods. That's not questionable now. That's not in question. It's a fact of nutrition that is not in question. And some of you still don't believe me. And some of you will be like, well, yeah, eggs are okay now and again. No, it's always causing damage. The body can heal that damage on the right diet. So, getting back to the doctor saying it's to do with cholesterol, me talking to my grandfather, I'm like, not to judge anyone, because no one believes it. Like, no one can believe this stuff. For me to sell my family on the idea that we should change our diet radically, I'd have to be like the greatest, most manipulative salesperson in the world, which I'm not quite, and I'm okay. I'm not that good at selling people on this lifestyle. I would have had to scare them. I would have had to use every manipulation tactic in the book. I would have had to use pictures and testimonials and videos and, and they still might have went, yeah, but we don't want to upset, or we don't want to have her change her diet. Or, she would have never changed her diet. Knowing my grandmother, she was quite anti-vegetarian, which is how you get dementia, right? But not that I once again, I don't really criticise her generation, the way she was brought up, the lack of knowledge that she was given, the lack of information. Her son was a vegetarian. She didn't want him to be a vegetarian. She was very anti-vegetarian. As a lot of people are. But it's a route to chronic disease if you're against vegetables or vegetarianism. It's a route to chronic disease. So yeah, heart disease. And I'm pretty sure that dementia, maybe I'll be wrong about all this, but I think things are much simpler. Like, go with me on this. Maybe dementia is something that's like genetic. Maybe it's something that's to do with pesticides. Maybe it's something to do with environmental exposure. Maybe the body just wears out over time. Maybe the brain just kind of wears out. But maybe, since they call it vascular dementia, maybe it's because the blood isn't getting to the brain anymore. Because the arteries are diseased and blocks have formed preventing blood getting there. Now, if a person was like hollow or invisible and you could see that blockage and the doctor was saying it's because of that blockage, and you could just reach in and take that out, wouldn't you do it? Of course you would. Oh, that's the problem. We'll take that out. If you could do that with heart disease, reach into someone's, oh, we can see the blocks there if you had x-ray eyes. Oh yeah, there they are. I'll reach in and I'll take those blocks out. Good. Done. Of course we would do that. We can't do that. But you can do that with changing your diet. The body can do that. But it's not, because people can't see it, because it's not obvious, because of this nonsense, like people being brought up on this nonsense that food's okay or whatever. We don't do anything about it. It's frustrating, isn't it? So And what it leads to is like 10 years of a person's life gone. 10 years of a person's life gone. Before that, she wasn't in great health, but she was an older person. Um, so I don't know what her potential would have been as a human being had she been on a plant-based, a vegan, a raw vegan diet. Had she 30, 40 years, 50 years ago, yeah, maybe 50 years ago, had she seen her son go vegetarian and went, let me find out about that, if she changed then, what condition she would have been in. But you just don't know. You just don't know. So I'm not going to pretend that I've got all the answers to life and all that. But this kind of stuff is simple. Like, it's not like your arteries are becoming diseased and blocked. The blood can't get to the brain. Of course that's going to cause problems. Of course that's going to cause problems. And right now there's millions of people dying of dementia. Like, it's one of the big things people are dying of. And it's a horrible way to die, because you die before you're dead. My grandmother died, but I'd not seen my grandmother in 10 years. I'd seen her physically, but the actual person that I grew up with was gone at least 5 years ago, but I think it was like 10 years ago. Just gone, just not there anymore. And then they're just alive. With no way of like having a life, no way of anyone interacting with them, no joy, nothing. Please understand, that's what animal products, that's what poor eating leads to. You're not going to get away with it. It's going to catch up with you. So make the changes as soon as you possibly can. Don't wait for this. Make some change. Do something. I think dementia can probably be reversed to some degree with a raw vegan diet. I think once someone's at the start, yes, I think you can reverse the start of it. If you want some help with that, reach out. I do offer coaching and stuff like that. And I'll have a link to my book below if you want to check that out and all that stuff. So thanks for watching. Feel free to share, ask questions below, and thank you for following this channel.